Good morning, everyone. It's Monday at 11 o'clock. This is Jason Schwartz. I have a terrific guest today. I have Haiku Helen with us. Hang on. Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste. I've been around for a long, long year. So many men sold away. And I was around when Jesus Christ
I can say hello.
moment of doubt and faith. Made damn sure that Pilate washed his hands and sealed his fate. Pleased to meet you. Hope you guess my name. But what puzzling you is the nature of my game. Good morning, everyone. Aloha. It's Jason Schwartz. We're here in Maui, Hawaii. This is the Neutral Zone, MauiNeutralZone.com. KAKU 88.5 FM, the voice of Maui. And today is a really special day. I have a great guest today. Let me first introduce. Many of you out there who live in Maui get select emails that have very high value because they share people that you don't see in like regular news as much, but she makes it available to be able to send that information on an opt-in basis to people that want to know. If you ever heard of Haiku Helen, we are now unveiling Haiku Helen. Welcome to our show, Helen.
Good to see you, Jason. We know each other a long time.
We know, well, that just means we were children together. I'm not that old yet. Just this weekend was an interesting day for all of us in that it's now celebrated as International Women's Day.
Yes.
It was yesterday,
Yes.
March 9th, and here we are, March 10th.
Yeah.
Amora Light, who many people on our station know from her show Gutsy Women, had a show Saturday night of a bunch of women. Were you in that? You probably
No, I wasn't. I was supposed to go, but I didn't. I couldn't go.
But they had a great thing. But I was thinking how we didn't plan it that way, but I'm a part of a group called the Mankind Project.
Yes.
And we had a new warrior training adventure in Camp K&I. It was beautiful. This last weekend, I think 29 initiates and 55 people in support. Isn't that beautiful?
No, it's beautiful.
How would you like to be going through something and having that kind of a group of caring, thoughtful men? It was beautiful. And what I was talking to my partner Ariel this morning, you know Ariel.
Yeah, of course.
And she was thinking, that it was Women's Day, but me knowing men, we think nothing but support. It was such a beautiful thing. So men and women, one of the guys there was saying, maybe someday we will even get rid of the box that says male, female, other, and just say we are one.
Other. We're all other.
If we keep doing this, at some point there'll be, I'm from Venus.
Right.
And, it's like when this world and universe gets bigger, when do we realize that we are one?
Yeah. Yeah.
How much spirituality do we need to, if we aligned with the what do we say, with the natural universe?
Yeah, with our true souls, which is not a gender. Our soul is not gendered.
See that now? So we changed subjects, so we just went diving into a subject because that's part of who you are. Also, you're a many-faceted diamond. Here we are. I think of you as way back when I first began to know you. You were an active mother of a beautiful son, and you also had a career in business before. What were you doing before?
I worked for Atari. I wrote games. I was a game programmer.
A game programmer here on Maui, hiding, doing things like this. But you also have other sides because Haiku Helen is also known for her
palmistry.
What is palmistry?
Well, let me, because you've mentioned so many things that I connect to. I just want to talk about the women's movement, because this you might not know about me. I was in the very, very beginning of the women's movement in New York City. The very, very first group that began when we first started to talk about what is women's oppression. I gave the very first abortion speech that, before abortion was legal, speaking about the illegal abortions I had had.
May I ask, just so I can place it in my mind?
Sure.
When was that? What year?
68.
So I was in college. 69, I graduated from... Oh, actually, I was just in high school. So you're...
I thought you were older than me. You're younger than me.
Kid. In April 11, I'm 69.
Okay.
We're all sort of the same. You know, as you younger people, you go, oh, he's 10 years older than me. He's 20 years younger than me. And then as we get older, we start to look the same. It's like when people have their dog. The longer you go, you start to look, your dog looks like you look like a dog. We all, as we grow older, we forget those lines. Like I have a partner who's a little bit older than me, although many people see her as young and beautiful.
Yeah, she's great. I love you. I love her. Yeah, so I was saying that...
you were there way back when
I was there in the very, very, very beginning.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it came out of really the black movement. Some of the women had been, with Martin Luther King. Some of the people who came out, first came out and realized that during the anti-Vietnam War, they were secretaries and they were, the girls, and they said no. And that's really where it started from, the people who first began it. And what I was going to say about it, for me, it was about soul at that moment. It wasn't about men and women. It was like, as soon as I started hearing it, I said yes. Because don't tell me I'm a girl. Don't tell me I'm this one. I'm this person.
Isn't that the same argument with don't tell me I'm white or black or Chinese
or American
Right.
I mean, all of these categories.
Separation.
Yeah.
Adversary. They always say that you can't have one position unless there's another position. That's what perspective is all about. But it can be the hot and cold, the dynamics of the universe,
right?
The balance of what is all boils down to one thing. It's one.
Yeah. That's your quantum.
My quantum theory. Einstein said E equals MC. Anyway, I truthfully, when we were talking, I mixed it all up really because I want the world to know what you know and what I know. Is we are like many facets. People think they know this or that, and we that's what this neutral zone is all about. I can speak to someone that some people say is an adversary because they like this, they don't like this. I just went to a training, and one of the guys there, he'll be a guest if I can get him this week.
Right.
Jason Stover is his name.
Oh, okay.
He's a great guy.
Karen Stover related to?
No, unrelated. This guy, Jason Stover, lives in West Virginia.
Right.
Now, when one think he's right in the middle of Trump country, we never even talk politics, but you can just feel how we all fit together, and the distances and different. If you take away all the things that make you think you're supposed to belittle someone or find us reason to separate, rather than see what we agree on.
And I think I would just add to that. I think the thing about differences is we have gifts to give each other. Like you say something to me that'll wake something in my mind, or I'll share something with you. So by putting all of these little puzzle pieces together, we actually create a greater whole, and we become that one.
Don't we? And we used to be, I'm just going to bring it back again.
Right.
Maui Arts and Music, Vision and Action is Mama and Papa. Arts and music, taking care of our environment together and creating a foundation. It's not just vision, it's vision plus action. Together, all is one. All these ideas, they're just all in us. Like the movie, remember Close Encounters of the Third Kind? No matter, things just came of age. Everyone was suddenly building these mountains.
Right. Yeah, I think I just saw that again.
Consciousness is raising. We are becoming more and more aware of something greater than this. If this is all there is, oh my God!
You know what I think is really fascinating. I mean, you and I have lived through, let's say, 70 years. Yeah. We've watched history move from, you know, the 50s to the 60s to the 70s to these 80s. We've watched all these things happen, and, you know, each decade brings a new understanding and a new awareness. And then we have, I feel at this point, like, 70 years, well, this is such a young country. I didn't ever really realize, you know, what, 250 years? We're babies.
We're babies.
You know?
Just like in medicine. Chinese medicine is thousands and thousands of years old, and we say, no, we're this way. It's a very funny world, but that's why I think when we talk about awakening and everyone's looking and then realizing that they're part of it. Yeah. That vision with the action that goes with it when they come to grips with who they are and they stand in their own commitment of what is, and they clear up things that are blocking them from self-realization.
Right. Well, you know what I think about self-realization? Actually, I was thinking about this on my way here. It's like, what are we going to talk about? To me, when I follow, because I think the other thing is, like, as in this stage that I am now, I actually turned 77, so I'm a few years older than you.
I also have. Ariel is, you know, in your neighborhood.
Oh, okay. So
we're almost birthday buddies. She's April 8th, I'm April 11th.
Oh, how sweet. Yeah. So, what I'm seeing now, what I'm beginning to see is that soul, and I'm just studying Judaism, actually, that's my new kick. The soul comes into the body. The soul never dies. It's just the body that dies. So this soul that comes in, and then we're born with all this various DNA that comes down through, you know, these generations. As we discover who we are on this earth plane, that soul says, yeah, I understand that, or I don't understand this. When I connect to that inner soul, that inner knowing, that's why I say when the women's movement first started, I didn't have to hear anybody say anything. I said, yeah, don't make me into that, you know, what a woman is supposed to be. I know who I am. I'm the soul. So it fit, you know, and then we discussed how this soul was being treated. You know, when I take on a female body, how is this soul being treated? No, that's not fair. That's not right, because I know who I am as a soul, not as a category. And I forget why I led into this.
Well, you know, and they talk about a soul and how it's expressed through physical action,
right,
and that we get what we need to learn lessons.
Yes.
You know, all the stuff we hear from many different people, and some people say, no, you have to do it this way, because it has to be that way.
Right.
It's got to be that way. Self-realization is so personal.
Yeah.
It's like I went to 85 men at one group.
Yeah.
And my spirit name, chosen by me through this process, is Gentle and Peaceful Lion.
Beautiful.
Don't think I'm not a lion.
Right.
But I'm a gentle and peaceful lion.
So this is fascinating that you've just went through this.
I went through it a couple of years ago, but so I'm one of
I get you.
Support. But that experience made me realize I don't have to be right there doing every process. If I need to be, I know how to roar. I know how to give when I feel I have to give.
Right.
But isn't it the role of a king or someone with wisdom to realize, hey, you can't pass the torch without lightening up and loosening your grip a little.
Right.
You know, and passing it. That's what Mankind Project feels like to me. Giving men of all ages the opportunity to align with and pass the torch with values and integrity.
So my question to you would be, is there something that happened this weekend that was new for you?
That was new for me.
Yeah.
I think what I have to think about it. It's renewing, because when they were talking about visioning and mission statement, without giving details of the weekend, what the leader was wondering, why I wasn't writing in the book. He didn't. The new guy came from Chicago.
Right.
He was a wonderful guy. Brother G, his name is. Beautiful mixture. I told you, West Virginia, Chicago,
right.
Seattle man from India was going through the initiation. It's in, I forgot, 14 countries, 4 languages. But there's an awareness. What did I learn? I relearned I say the word relearn, I think of... Were you here? Did you see Michael Smith when he was here?
No, I don't think so.
There's a man that was on our show. I wear this shirt because it just makes me feel good. Michael Smith was from a company called Regenitech, and he's in Montana, remote Montana. They take green waste, and with a process of growing algae, through that process, able to extract hydrogen and methane, power an engine that they go and they burn and create biochar, and create the most valuable piece, which is biostimulants that, when used on the ground, gives plants the biochar carries these stimulants and holds them in suspension, so plants get these things that they don't have to create themselves. They're there in their environment, and so they can grow. And pesticides aren't needed. I mean, it's like, wow.
It's very interesting what you're talking about here.
So
I
when
think,
you say, what did I learn?
Yeah.
I relearn. We keep relearning and realizing there's new wisdom, old wisdom. Wisdom is wisdom. It's that ability, isn't it, to take and honor the old, but be open and willing for the new, to integrate. Isn't that what a being is doing?
Well, let me think about that. I'm just trying to see if I have this, if I have the same process. I think that for me, it's like, okay, there's a certain understanding that I gain, over the years, as I learn new things and get opened up to new ways of new perspectives. And then I have to fix it, put it into what I already know. Like, how does this all connect together? Like, for example, epigenetics, when that first came about, or now we're learning a lot about how we can heal ourselves from cancer, from, various things that really, which is connected to what you were talking about,
and the idea
right
of something
now,
new or something revealed and possibly revisited. The Chinese wisdom that now they make into an artificial thing, when it's there naturally if they just stop at the old and the new.
I was just listening to Dispenza again. I hadn't listened to him for a long time, but really this sense of that. He was talking about the placebo, right? You take the placebo and your body, it's just what you were talking about the earth, that your body will create that chemical that it needs to cure yourself. You don't have to take that pill. It's not like, oh, suddenly I believe I'm going to be well and therefore I'm going to be well. No, what happens is it's a process of believing, by believing and maybe focusing in the body that you're going to get well, that the body itself creates that particular chemical that it needs to cure you. That's just wonderful.
That's funny. I don't know how these ideas fit together, but when you said that, I thought of comedy and the people that have cancer that find comedy. And then I thought, another aspect of this wonderful woman, Maui Improv.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
This weekend, one of our new brothers is Mark Beltzman.
Oh, right.
Wonderful brother.
Yeah, I heard he went.
So you hear comedy, but look at that facet. Someone who gets a dynamic. Isn't that... We keep seeing how all this fits together. I hope you guys are picking this up.
Well, apropos of that, and I don't want to interrupt you all the time, but what I was thinking about, this is because I was thinking about this coming here. I thought, what am I going to talk about? I was thinking, and again, I'm just going to go back to the soul, because with this new Jewish studies I'm doing, just recognizing, as you're saying, revisiting,
it's like reconnecting,
that you come in as that soul. Now, how you express it, we have to express it through a female body. I came in as a female. I came in as a Jew. I came in as a New Yorker. and we discover these gifts that we have. You know, I draw, I act, I write. They all come from the same soul passion. You know, that's that soul passion, and then the gifts of improv, or the gifts of drawing, or the gifts of writing, or the radio show, the hosting that you do, is how your soul is coming through this gift, which is not yours. No. The gift is in your genes.
But I get to you know, share it from a source greater than I that aligns. Look at my whole thing. I keep doing it. Maui Arts and Music Association, Mama. People aligned in positive action is the power of the mother and the father, the mama and the papa, to take a vision, add action, and be dream makers. Not dreamers, dream makers. We can solve these problems. We're in 2020. We should have perfect vision.
Yeah, but we have Trump. We have Trump.
I figure that the way quote to combat a mentality that is what do we say, that is manifesting as Donald Trump,
right,
is to see what we have in common as values, because from there, we want to find the answer that works for everyone.
And the thing also about Trump is really that, you know, we wouldn't have AOC, we wouldn't have all of these, you know, people saying, well, if the national government is not going, the federal government is not going to do it, we got to do it here. You know, we got to take control of our lives because they're talking bullshit.
Well, here we are in Maui. What a great opportunity.
Yes.
That's why I always talk about, you see, we go back to the same stuff. To take all these pieces together and make this beautiful example for the world, called the Mama and the Papa, to show our art, our music, our culture. Beautiful people. If you will listen to our shows at MauiNeutralZone.com, I'm here with Haiku Helen Kritzler. Helen is multifaceted. We're exploring all kinds of stuff. So if you're on radio, 88.5 FM, if you're on TuneIn, you can get us, KAKU radio. Let's see where else. You can get us at MauiNeutralZone.com the next day, and you can see a number of our shows, because this is by design. I guess it's my design. I choose my guests. They seem to be organically grouping themselves in a way that is sharing a vision, you know, like the Matrix. What is our part in this?
Yes.
I'm not trying to reinvent. I'm trying to identify and relate. And when that happens, like when you were just talking, I'm thinking, palmistry, aren't you really reading? Everyone has a unique...
Yes.
A unique piece. So the spiritual fits in with the physical, aligns with, you know, all these things that people find so mystical and, astrology, when you look at all that stuff, you realize what an amazing amount, this matrix. So fantastic.
Well, the fact of the matter is, this is the way I've always looked at everything, is that there's a material reflection of it and there's a spiritual reflection of it. So palmistry, I mean, your DNA, you're born, you know, when you're going to get your period as a woman is kind of in your DNA. You know, when you mature as a man is kind of in your DNA. So a lot of things that are going to happen as we grow up is already programmed in there. So it's not surprising that there should be reflections of it in the palm. I mean, I started doing palmistry because my mother was a palmist, and she got it from her grandfather. So I would watch her read people's palms. And so I got interested and I began to study it. Did I believe it when I first started? No, I didn't believe it. I mean, it sounded kind of ridiculous. Sounds ridiculous. Why should you be able to read the palm? But as I've been doing it all of these years, I see that it totally works. You can totally, just like astrology, you can totally see the persona of the person, their attributes, their strengths, their, you know, what they're going through. It shows up in the palm. It's incredible. It's incredible.
We are going to take a break for our sponsors here in a minute. I will, you know, you wondered what we were going to talk about. It seems like, it sounds like a big mishmash, but Isn't that? It's not really a mishmash because it all fits together just perfectly.
Yes.
Like when I thought this weekend, every time I looked at Mark Beltzman, I thought about you and and Jeff Heisel, who's there,
right.
These are people. You see people that have all kinds of facets of them that make up the physical and the spiritual, the serious and the this. Being in that moment, is you know what it's like. Isn't that what we're doing here? This is improv.
Yeah, sure.
People ask me, you do a lot of research for your shows. And I tell them the story of my friend Sharon Levine. Do you remember Sharon Levine?
Maybe.
Sharon Levine was a guy, used to be in the garment industry in New York. His name was Harvey Levine. He wrote a book after he got out of, I think he said 11 insane asylums over his life. And he wrote a book of poetry. And Sharon was just insightful and interesting. I forgot what we were even talking about, but just all these energies that fit together just so perfectly in our world. I don't think that we're going to find. Donald Trump is here for a reason.
Yeah. Well,
he's not my adversary. I'd like him to see what we're doing and go, I like that. Let's do that. Can't we all lead each other through our who and what we do?
Well, I think Donald Trump is a certain personality that has arisen now, which kind of allows us to say, wait a minute, wakes us up to say, I have to do something. You know what I mean? He's like the night and we're the day. You know what I mean? Obama was great, but we could all sort of sit back and relax and let Obama, do whatever he did.
Many things about Obama that we could also criticize. So that's why I say I try. That's what this zone is. I could criticize Obama and I could criticize Trump quite a bit, but rather than focus there, what I find like focusing on is all the good things, and that's why you're here.
Yeah,
because. How can people, young people see older people? I say older. Wisdom is in many shapes and so it all fit.
I know you have to go for an ad, but I was going to say that for me, my life is ever, like I said, about 2 years ago, I had studied Buddhism, I had studied Hinduism, I studied many different religious teachings. But now I'm studying Judaism, and I didn't know anything about it really. It's
Zohar.
Fascinating.
It's fantastic, isn't it?
Well, I'm kind of trying various practices, and it's been a revelation to me. I didn't expect it. I really did not expect it. But it's an extraordinary experience. So for me, I'm always like a little kid. Whoa, here's a new package I'm going to open up on Christmas morning.
I know.
How wonderful.
I felt that always from Ram Dass. If we be here now and have that new awakening awareness, aren't we happy? If we're happy in the moment and we are in the moment, that's beautiful. I'm going to take a break for our sponsors. I have sponsors old and new. One is Cash for Gold, Come Mine Alone, Richard Dan, who we know, and Harry Eager, who writes Restating the Obvious. He was a Maui news reporter, business reporter for 25 years. He retired. He's a wonderful man. They're sponsors of our show here, but we have a small base of sponsors that simply repeat and we're growing and growing, and I'm just very excited. So we'll see what commercials come up. I say commercials, sponsorship. What do we call this? Is radio. So we're not a commercial station. We're a nonprofit station. I think it is. So let's just see what comes up on the old hit parade. The Neutral Zone, with me, Jason Schwartz, would like to thank Maui Arts and Music Association, Treemakers Foundation of Maui, for their support. Since 1991, with hundreds of television shows and their MauiArtsandMusic.com website, they have championed self-sustainability on Maui. The Neutral Zone is heard live Mondays at 11 a.m. and replayed Saturday at 7 a.m. on KAKU 88.5 FM, the voice of Maui.
Do you have something to say but can't find an outlet? Did you know that Akaku offers a service called Open Mic? Here, you can come in and make a statement on any topic you want, and it's free. Play a song you wrote, recite a monologue, do a funny dance, comment on a recent event. The floor is yours. Come speak your mind for free. Appointments are available Mondays and Wednesdays between 1 and 3. Call 871-5554 today to reserve your spot.
Saturday night at 8 and Sunday night at 9 on KAKU 88.5 FM, we experience dead air. Not that kind of dead air. We're talking Grateful Dead. Grateful Dead music for an entire hour. Saturday night at 8 and Sunday night at 9 with me, Corey Daniels, on KAKU 88.5 FM.
You're never completely ready to adopt a teen.
For late nights writing English papers.
For your teen's music taste.
For dinners where they talk more on their phone than with you.
For the first time, they call you mom.
You're never completely ready to adopt a teen, and you can't imagine the reward.
To learn more about adopting a teen, visit adoptuskids.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Jason Schwartz, host of The Neutral Zone. KAKU is a listener-supported station. This means that all of the great programs you hear, like mine, are sponsored by you as well as our underwriters. If you would like to help keep the voice of Maui talking loud and clear, go to kakufm.org/donate today and give. And don't miss The Neutral Zone Mondays at 11 a.m. on 88.5 FM, the voice of Maui. Aloha, everyone. I'm Jason Schwartz. We are back at the Neutral Zone, MauiNeutralZone.com, KAKU 88.5 FM on your radio dial. We're what's called a low-power radio station, which means we have 100 watts, like the kids station in Paia. So if there's a building in the way or another signal around, you might not catch us as easily as finding us up on the web. That's why we also are Facebook Live. That's why we have these cameras here, so people can get to enjoy us out of our small vicinity, you know. And then we put it on TV, and they're up there every day. We have a beautiful library of people just like you. Different facets of the diamond, but all part of this wonderful thing called wonderful. Why is that what they call it? Wonderful? I have to respell it a little bit. We were just talking right before the break about your exploration into Judaism. Now, you were born a Jew. I was born a Jew.
Right.
And I grew up. When I got bar mitzvah, I had a choice. Do you want to go continue doing schooling? And so I know the basics and was a Reformed Jew. But I didn't think about it. But in studying Judaism, it's like opening up a new box, huh? What do you see in that box?
Well, I don't know what your background. I mean, there are various, kinds of Jews. I think my family was sort of like the socialist. Moses was the first revolutionary, right? Violent revolution.
That was what you grew up with?
No, but I'm saying my parents were, of the left wing.
Yeah, Moses said no, and he smacked that guy and said no.
Let us go. So, like you, Reform Judaism is totally boring. The rabbi was totally boring. Everything seems totally boring. And when I went for spirituality, I ended up, in India with Muktananda, and I had extraordinary experiences, powerful experiences, and Buddhism, powerful, wonderful teachings. But I was always curious about Judaism because I thought, Jews they're comedians, they're businessmen, they're communists. Look around. They how come there isn't any great rabbi? So I was always kind of like looking, and I discovered somebody a couple of years ago on the internet who was fantastic, and I started listening to him. His name is David Solomon, and
not our David Solomon.
No. He's from Australia. Anyway, we invited him to come here. He gave a teaching here, and I got like a transmission from him, and I began to study okay, maybe there's something more. I mean, after all, they've been writing it, like you said, the Chinese, they've been writing it for 5,000 years.
Right, yeah.
I mean, it goes back 5,000 years, right? So this
what are we year? What year is the Judy?
And now we're 57 something.
Yeah,
actually,
almost
the Messiah is
58.
supposed to come, I think, in the year 6,000.
He's a little late. We are the Messiah, aren't we?
Hopefully,
if we are part of. It's interesting. Let me hear because all these religions. Larry Feinberg,
right,
used to say, "Scratch a Buddhist, scratch a Hindu, find a Jew."
Right. Well, so very interesting. So this goes back to when I was in Muktananda. This is just one little thing that I've learned from studying this tribe. I don't really like Judaism because that's Judah. The Israelites or the Hebrews, this nation. When I was with Muktananda in India, and we spent every morning reading what was called the Guru Gita, and I come across this word Brahman, because one side is in Sanskrit and the other side is the translation. So I see Brahman, and I look over at the translation, and it says first priest. I said, wait a minute, that's Abraham.
Right.
And it says first priest.
Father of the Jews.
There's got to be a connection with that. So for years, I thought something is not being told. There's something here. So more recently, since I've been studying this, I realized, I looked it up on the internet. I'm not the only one that came up with this connection. And when I researched it, so it turns out that Brahman was married to Saraswati. Abraham was married to Sarah. Saraswati had her first child when she was 90, and Brahman was 100. Isaac was born, Isaac was born when Abraham was 100 and Sarah was 90.
Sounds like you're reading the Jewish...
but I'm saying there's so many. As I began to research it, Brahman believed it was the creator God. He's the father of the Indian nation. Abraham is the father of... The Brahmins are priests. The Brahmins are priests. The children of Abraham are supposed to be priests. And then there's another part, which I found out from someone else, that Solomon they said in the Torah, it says that Solomon was as wise as the children that went to the east. It turns out when Sarah died, Abraham had relations with, and this again is in the Torah, had relationships with many concubines, like hundreds, and he sent them off to the east with gifts. And then later, the gifts, the children of these, they say Solomon was as wise as... Anyway, this connection
awesome?
is like, wait a minute, something's going on here that people haven't really talked about, which connects us all together as one. Once again, your point.
Well, it is my point. Like I say, it's like Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Some of these, that's why I say we're all awakening. We who step out, you were a leader before. Yeah. You did it because it came into self-realization.
Yeah.
That this action helped make a difference in the physical world.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we're supposed to do. Yeah.
So
right.
that's why I say I am just... I try not to find myself lingering on the negativity, although I see it all around me, and I'm passionately interested in changing things and trying my very best. But try to do it from a gentle and peaceful place. Because no doubt I can be a lion. The Lion King, when I think of those images and realize that the king... That is the gentle king, the one who is there when he needs to be there. Right, just it's very exciting times we live in.
I think it is.
Everyone out there has the power to make a difference. Yeah. If you don't like Trump, you can vote for someone else, but you vote. You don't not vote, right? You have the power, and you take your unique position and you do something. You come alive. Isn't it great how you come alive? this was a wonderful weekend. For all you men out there, if you were to go to mkp.org, I think they probably explain it in their mission statement. It was a thing that came back at me. Yeah. I had interviewed a guy named Harry Newman from Philadelphia.
Right.
And his girlfriend, who was Phyllis Newman. N-E-U-M-A-N and N-E-W, two of them. They were together. And what was interesting to me was I didn't realize at the time, he was, we did a television show.
Right.
You guys on TV, remember. We did a TV show, and he was talking about the Mankind Project that he got into in 1991, and I didn't really relate. And then Dr. Joseph Cohn, who's here on Maui, I was sitting talking to his wife Arlene about the Dreammakers Foundation and Vision in Action, and he said, "You should meet the men in the Mankind Project. You should do it." So here.
Is that how you first came to it? Yeah.
I had this friend, and he mentioned they were having a warrior weekend, and I said, "Yeah, I'll do that." And went to it, and it was a great experience.
So for me, that's what self-realization or enlightenment is, seeing how we've been formed, which is what you're talking about, formed by this society, making men have to do this, and men can't cry, or women have to cry, and they can't, how we're formed by this, and then we see it as a structure that we do not have to fit into. As long as we see it, we're free of it. If we can't see it, then we're trapped by it. Right. But from what you're saying, by seeing it, that's realizing the self. That's realizing the soul from outside this societal point of view that's making us into this woman or man. Oh, I don't have to be that at all.
I can be who and what I am, expression of myself.
Right.
And fit into this creation, which I am active in.
Right.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that you out there, some of you are saying, these guys are really airy-fairy. What's the deal here? I think an airy-fairy. We're flying because we're exploring things outside that traditional box.
Yeah,
I've had so much fun with I call them politicians, people in council and mayor and whatever, because when you pull away all the veils and you get down to when you're electing someone, you want to see who and what they are,
right?
And that's what I hope we do here.
Yeah.
I don't know where to go.
There's a lot of things that I could go.
I would love to go to the comedy and the improv.
Oh, okay.
But I think about the palmistry, and I think how really interesting. You do these readings around here on the island
all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
So if you want, I'm going to put a link on the website so people will easily find you.
And it's psychic palmistry, because I start with the palm, which tells me who you are as a, like astrology, like your attributes, your powers.
Where you are.
But then I go into the more intuitive place, because the brain waves, it's electromagnetic. We're electromagnetic, and electricity doesn't stay inside the head. Right. So, we do pick up. The whole world is picking up energy from everywhere, and when you focus on it and you begin to do it, you begin to be able to connect to those brain waves and connect to, understanding. So I go into a more intuitive place too, if people want to know what they should do right now, which might not be written in the palm, like how should I handle this or how should I handle that?
That's great.
So you have
repeat clients that you see.
That's right. People come back.
That's great.
And then just to add to what I do, so after we figure out what's going on with them or where they're being blocked, and I do a lot of different processes to let go of those processes, then I do an energy transformation from a lot of my Tibetan Buddhist practices and some new stuff from my and I still don't like the word Judaism, for my Jewish practice.
What do you like to think of it as?
Well, I think that's a limited name. I mean, it comes from
Hebrew,
Judah.
Does that feel better?
I like Israelites. I like Israelites, even though the Rastas have made that. I said we're Israelites.
With all the fights over Israel, whose territory
yeah, that's terrible too, right?
Well, territory, that's Earth.
Hebrew? Hebrew nation?
Yeah. Well, the Jews. I don't, Jewish. What's a Jew?
It comes from Judah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
From the
Judah was from
Maccabee
the northern. I believe it was a part of the northern tribes, and yeah.
Oh, I didn't really.
Anyway,
okay.
I think we have to come up with a new name.
Those guys. So, what was this wisdom that you really was finding there?
I'll tell you one of the things that I got was somebody was talking about doing the Sabbath. Well, I'd never done the Sabbath; I just heard about it. But I was in this group studying the Zohar, and this one woman said, "Well, it's like an it's like an extended." She was doing a retreat. She said it's like an extended Sabbath. I said, "Oh, a Sabbath is a retreat? I never thought of that." So I thought, let me try this thing called the Sabbath. So I wake up one morning. Well, at first I light the candles Friday night, and I read about it. Turns out that you get a higher soul on the Sabbath. And you get there are 5 souls in Judaism. There's the nefesh, which is your body soul, just your ordinary living on the earth soul. Then there's, as I say, there's 5 other levels. And the highest soul is the one that connects with the divine intelligence.
Is that what the Sephiroth is all about?
It's connected. There's a connection, but no, it's not exactly that.
Okay. So there's 5 souls.
Yeah. So you get this higher soul. It's actually the 3rd soul you get on the Sabbath. That's what they say. And they say 2 angels come in. That's what they say. So I light the candles. I say, I know the Baruch. And sure enough, I'm starting to feel, it's lovely. Well, you're lighting the candles. The place looks nice. You don't turn on the TV, no electricity. I wake up the next morning. It's dark. It's like 5 a.m. You're not supposed to turn on lights. Not supposed to put on any electricity. So I walk into the living room, and I slowly watch the sun come through the curtains. And I think, I'm not supposed to do anything today. That's the commandment. Don't do anything. So I sit there and I say, usually if I have a moment, I go to the computer, I talk to somebody on the phone. I'm always being distracted. There's not a moment of just, unless I'm doing meditation, but even meditation, I have my instructions. And then I realize I could take an hour to walk from my chair to that door, because there's nothing to do today for the next 25 hours. So it's sort of like time has disappeared, because time has to do with this thing and then this thing and then the next thing. Like this is going to be over at a certain. We have to fit everything in.
Yeah.
Suddenly, there's no fitting in of anything, and I feel this like. We talk about woo-woo. I feel this dimension like opening up where I'm in a timeless zone. So now I really get woo-woo. So I'm in this timeless zone, nothing to do but just sit here. And I'm beginning to feel this energy, this, it's wonderful, peaceful. The birds, I'm hearing the birds. I'm watching this light come in, and then I get a message. And I'm told, be generous. I'm told, do your very best. I'm told, but the end result is not in your hands. So I've been meditating on this message. That was the only time I got a message. Yeah, but I've been meditating on that message for the past, I think it's about a year that I got it. And I've become more generous. If somebody can't afford to, I say, well, pay me what you can. And then I realize I want to be generous. We all want to be generous, but we can't be generous because people take advantage, people take advantage of you or whatever. And then this word that I got, do your very best, but the end result is not in your hands. It's like there's a lot of things I haven't done in life because I'm afraid I'm not good enough. or the burden is on me to make sure it's going to be. So I'd rather not do it. But if the end result is not in my hands, then I can do my very, very best, and it's not up to me how this radio show goes. It's up to some else, right. So I don't have to be. I can let go of that fear, and I can do my very best, which means my very best. Doesn't mean the very best. Right. I don't have to be as good as the greatest actor, the greatest improviser. I don't have to be.
If you're the greatest you that you can be, I can fully express.
I can
yourself.
do my very best. That's it.
What a great revelation!
Yeah, it was, and I'm still working with it. I'm still, letting that open me up more and more to see wherever it takes me.
Talk about being blessed. I was just looking at you and thinking. You talk about being 77.
Yeah.
Did you ever think 77 looked like this when we were growing up? Our whole world is now shifting. Yeah. We're awakening, not eating this, we're eating that.
Right.
Look how we're just continuing to evolve.
Yeah.
The only things that stop us are, well, not the only thing, but the regulators or the people that don't, or that, it's really a funny world. If we just relax and do what's right, feels right, is right. Yeah. It's a great thing.
Yeah.
It's wonderful talking to you because I get to play the game. Some people are very singularly focused, or they're very, very much into these little things they do.
Right.
But I've had explosions in my life that later, the blessings come from the things that happen to us.
Right.
The wisdom that comes, the feelings that come, all that stuff.
Yeah.
You start to really appreciate and have a lot of gratitude for your life, and realize with doing nothing but just being is where you get the greatest opportunity to have your soul raised.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking also, because as we age, it's like I'm not quite as sharp. Improv years ago, I could think of it now as like, what was the name of that president? Who was? I better look it up on Google. Yeah. But what I notice, and I don't know if you have this experience, but what I notice in this aging process is, my brain maybe can't retain all the details. I never could do crossword puzzles, but that kind of brain. But the wisdom brain is expanding. And the other thing that I'm finding, and you tell me if you find this, I can remember now in my childhood, like I can go back to certain moments and almost be there again. Like I can go back. I tried this once. I thought, I'm going to walk around my house that I grew up in, come in the front door, and walk by those couches, and just like in my mind, just see it. And as I was doing that, I suddenly heard my mother say, in this imagination, I heard her say, "Let's Skipper in," who was our dog. But I could, it was like I could really relive those early moments that are so powerful. Our childhood is so powerful inside us.
And that's why when you asked me what this weekend did I learn new,
right?
And I jumped to it, I said, that's it.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what my answer was going to be.
Right.
It's relearning, getting in touch with something, remembering a memory. Who would remember Skipper? And
right.
It's really incredible thing.
Yeah.
Isn't this universe awesome? See how fortunate we are? I'm looking at this camera.
Oh, okay.
We're a 2-camera shoot. We're on Facebook Live. This is KAKU 88.5 FM, the voice of Maui.
Right.
We have a bunch of people here that are doing these shows that are really fabulous.
Yeah, no, it's great that you're doing this, because it's really recording the people who lived on Maui at this time. I mean, they might, in the year,
who knows what,
2050 or 3000, they'll go back and
think about
see.
I don't have the pictures and videos of my mom and dad and grandparents as much because they weren't around and we didn't have the technology. Right. Now we're taking these moments and passing them on to this library. It's always happening in the cosmic world. You touched in and saw, hey, Mom, let's skipper in.
Right. Yeah. Let's skipper in.
You know, you probably would be a great host for a show. Can you imagine? It's now, we have about 2 minutes left. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
So I think I should first say, Haiku Helen, you are a beautiful woman.
Thank you.
Wonderful woman.
Thank you.
Thank you for deciding to come to my show.
Yeah, it's a
I really
pleasure.
know that, you're a gift to everybody. How do people get in touch with you?
Well, they could just write to haikuhelen@gmail.com. Okay. That'll get to me right away.
Haiku, Haiku, Helen, Helen.
At Gmail.
You guys know how to do that. Okay.
And I have a website, haikuhelen.com. And I have actually some videos where I talk, they're old, but where I talk about my palmistry and what I do in my sessions.
And you're around. I hope if people want to come Maui Improv, I know I've seen you there many times.
Yeah, I love it.
It's a great group of people.
Yeah, it's we play.
It really is fun, isn't it? Yeah. So, if you want to see a beautiful, wonderful, multifaceted woman, haikuhelen.com and haikuhelen@gmail.com. Right. We have a minute left. I'm going to say goodbye. You're welcome to say goodbye. It has been wonderful. I hope you'll consider coming on again. And if there's anything important or anyone you think that we might want to share with our world, come to me.
Well, I just think that, looking at all of the ancient teachings, like you were talking about Chinese medicine and all of these things, there's so much richness in all of this old things that we can combine now with new teachings and see in a new way. So, that's the great thing about the internet. People put it down that everybody's on the internet all the time, but you can look anything up and
you're going to do it when you leave the show because we are leaving the show. It has been wonderful. Haiku Helen, I'm Jason Schwartz, MauiNeutralZone.com. Aloha, everyone. We love you. See you next week.